is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys.
Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters
At the Star in Frisco.
First down. Handoff. Elliott plowing to the goal line. Buried. Sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
It's another edition of Talkin Cowboys here from Oxnard, California, as we continue on training camp. Guys, this is episode number 5 already for us here in California. We've got plenty more to go as we are right around that halfway point of our stay on the West Coast. We've got Rob Phillips. We've got the legend, Mr. Mcgee Spagnola. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Why the laugh?
I've just never heard him called a legend by you. That was great.
Well, maybe you need to start.
I didn't disagree. I've just never heard that as your moniker.
I usually call the great Rob Phillips or Cowboys insider Rob Phillips. Isaiah's usually Super Bowl champion, and then Heckma's professional football analyst. So I threw Mickey in there with legendary Mickey Spagnola.
Hall of Fame's in like 3 days is something we don't know about. Are you getting
Hall of Fame?
You getting a jacket?
Getting inducted?
Yeah, I'm probably a little bit away from that.
Just a little bit,
Yeah.
I think. Maybe a tad, but
About from here to Canton.
He is a legend. He is a
there you
legend.
go. We had a great weekend, I think, here in Oxnard. The Cowboys in general, they had great crowds on hand. I mean, my gosh, the fans showed out in all sorts of groves out here in California. And then the weather was fantastic. But I think most importantly, we had some good practices along the way as well, both Saturday and Sunday, wrapping up a span of 5 practices in 6 days. Rob, what stuck out to you of what you saw over the weekend, and what were some of the positives you took out of it?
I thought there was good competition on both sides. I mean, when we had the show a few days ago, the topic was how the defense was dominating. Mm-hmm. And I thought that without Dak, he's still not throwing in these practices. There are some steps forward from the offense. I think you're seeing some nice connections with Garrett Gilbert and his receivers. But I still think the defense is active out there. The communication seems good. And I think we've all been impressed with how the defensive line has consistently gotten pressure in these practices. Now, they are padded. Mickey brings up a good point that there really isn't a huge threat of the run in some of these drills, so that can help guys get up the field and feel better about rushing. But I think it's been competitive on both sides. It sure would be nice to get Dak back in here, though. I think Dak, coupled with some other injuries on the offensive side, does make it difficult for the offense against this first-team defense right now. You're missing some receivers. Blake Jarwin not in full teamwork right now. Tyron Smith's been held out lately, so of some team drills for a day or two. So not at full strength, and that's something Mike McCarthy's trying to juggle with this game coming up, Mick.
So let's start here. You mentioned the crowd.
Yes.
I found out that they capped the attendance at 2,500.
Wow.
So
pretty
the
good.
Other day when I told you I saw 112 cars lined up ready to get in, those people knew they better get in here early.
Get in quick.
So my PSA for Saturday coming up with the practice against the Rams.
Oh, yeah.
If you plan on wanting to watch that, you better get here early. I think this practice starts at 3. They probably don't start letting people in till 2. But I thought they were counting cars. They're counting heads in the car.
Oh.
So 2,500, they
Wow.
capped it, and they closed it on they were going to have to close it on Saturday. And I would imagine yesterday wasn't much different since you mentioned the crowd. Mm-hmm. The weather the last 2 days, this is paradise, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
We wake up, it's 57 degrees, and then it levels off at 72, and there ain't a cloud in the sky. Mm-hmm. I noticed the other day on my bike ride, I could see the Channel Islands on the horizon, and they haven't been showing up because of the cloud cover, right?
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. And as for practice, I thought that, like Rob said, the competition, I think, really ramped up. With the players knowing, was it 3 days in a row in pads? So, or 2. It was
4.
2. It was 3 days.
3,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, I think things ramped up, but that was good. We talked about some of the stuff Steven told us late in the week, and I finally found my notes here. And, he said there's 60, 65 guys that could make the 53, and that's a good thing when you're starting to see that type of competition. After that first day that the backup quarterbacks took over for Dak, I think these last two practices, I think we saw the ball go down the field a little bit more.
Yes.
It wasn't as much of the check down to the tight ends, the quarter and the running backs. They actually threw the ball down the field. But again, they got to see things, right? And, with Garrett Gilbert working with the first team, I think the more he worked, the better he got by Sunday. So, yeah, I thought that was encouraging. The defense continues to make plays, and that's encouraging. And they seem organized, as I keep saying. And I think you can, give Dan Quinn a fist bump, along with George Edwards and Joe Witt Jr., the new coaches that came in here. I think those guys are doing a really nice job with the defense.
All three quarterbacks made some plays yesterday.
Yep.
Down to Ben DiNucci, converted a 4th down in a situational team drill and almost converted another rolling to his left, and I think it was a drop pass in the last play of practice.
Lynn, the tight end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, DiNucci makes some plays too. That's important for him going into this game because he's going to probably get some opportunities to play, I would think. But for Garrett Gilbert, it does help when you can just throw it up to number 88, man. My God.
He's been so incredible.
Every day it's something. And it's like that back left corner of the end zone. That's like his real estate. He's constantly making plays on the ball in those jump ball situations. He's been fantastic. I don't know how you could name anybody else as the best player in camp so far in terms of wow plays and just guys can't cover him. He cannot be covered in these practices right now.
And if it wasn't for him, that award might go to Trayvon Diggs.
Diggs will get some wins here and there.
But it's CD beats him on crazy stuff like that.
Yes.
He was in his grill on that jump ball.
Yeah, there
There's
couldn't
no
have
way
been
you
better
could catch
coverage.
that, right? And somebody asked me the guys on the fan just asked me what separates CD Lamb for the previous 88s. And I said, it's his catch radius. He catches balls that should not be caught, right? Michael Irvin, Des Bryant, those guys ran good routes, and they got themselves open with their physicality and their route running. Not all the time Des, but for sure Michael. But with this guy, he runs good routes, but he has more speed, and he catches balls he has no right catching, right? Michael was lucky because when Troy threw a pass to him, it split the 8s, right, all the time. Mm-hmm. He didn't have to go, lunging or diving. This guy, whatever it takes to catch the ball, he can do it, and it's just rather remarkable.
So I do need to add to that, and yet you're right, because I think you should feel good about Trayvon Diggs based on these practices because his coverage in a lot of times has been really tight, and he's gotten a couple wins. But yeah, some of the great, fantastic plays we're seeing from CeeDee Lamb are because he's draped all over him, and he's just got to high point the football and go get it. And it's been really impressive so far.
It has been impressive, and it kind of reminds me, every time he makes a play like that, it throws me back to the Minnesota game last year where he made the diving catch in the end zone, kind of twisting his body backwards to reach out, stretch out, and make the grab. And it's like he does something that spectacular, or even more so. I mean, the one catch he had on the neighborhood field a couple days ago might have been one of the best catches I've ever seen CeeDee Lamb make, and that's saying something because it was probably the best catch I would have seen any other receiver make.
He's helped the training camp live ratings. He really has.
Oh, definitely
he knows where the camera is, too. He'll come right at us. It's really nice. Thanks, CD.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So Kyle's got the lingo down, the neighborhood field and the golf field.
The golf field, right? Yeah, I'm trying. It's my first time out here. I got to try and step in with the coach lingo. Who took the biggest step forward in practices this weekend? If you had to tab one guy, it could either be a position group or an individual. I'll make it that simple for you. Mickey, I'll let you start off. Anybody take that extra step this weekend?
Well, if he had not, and I think it was a hamstring maybe, not had to miss like a practice and a half, I thought Kelvin Joseph finally kind of showed up a couple days in a row making plays. And to the fact that when we talked to Stephen Jones the other day, the first person that he said when they asked him, well, who's caught your eye? And he immediately says the fat is kicking butt.
Just fat.
Yeah. And he meant Kelvin Joseph for his boss man fat moniker, whatever. But anyway, yeah, I thought he took some steps forward. Although when he got back, it was okay. So yeah, I thought he did. We mentioned the backup quarterbacks. I thought the more they played, and that's the way it should be, the better they looked. Leighton Vander Esch has looked really well, and that's a daily thing for 2 weeks now, or however long they've been practicing, a week and a half. He's right on point. Micah Parsons, he's almost like CD. It's not as spectacular, but he's making plays you notice. They had him lined up at the linebacker spot yesterday, and they had a run play, and he read the hole, I think, faster than the running back did. There was a gap, right? And it wasn't a blitz, right? He read the hole, and it would have been a tackle for about a 3-yard loss.
He was past the line of scrimmage when Cooper Rush handed the ball off to Jaquan Hardy. Hardy was the one
that like that gap opened up.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, and Bill Jones made a good point yesterday when we saw that. He goes, with him playing running back, he's used to kind of from the other side reading where the daylight is. And he goes, and I think it helps him read the daylight
the
against
other way.
The run. Yeah, because he jumped in that hole, and it was a gaping hole, and it wasn't designed that way for him to do that.
No, Connor Williams made a really nice block in that play, kind of took his – I forgot who the defensive tackle was, but he took him out of the play, had a huge hole. The left tackle, I believe, was Brandon Knight, and he was off and to the left doing his own deal, and then all of a sudden, it was Ty Nseki who was off to the left, kind of keeping somebody at bay.
Are we allowed to compliment Connor Williams?
We can, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Is that allowed?
All he does is get
He's been good. There's nothing that has said that he should not be the left guard spot.
That's right.
It's the fact that Connor McGovern's been really good, and it's like, okay, is he your backup, or do you try and fit him in the lineup at all? But I did want to ask you. You mentioned Leighton Vander Esch. You didn't say exactly what impressed you on what he has done, but what has impressed you about him? Because I agree with you.
Just the fact that his coverage has been good, but he seems to be reading the ball really well from that weak side and flowing to where the ball's flowing to. And that's his natural spot. That's where he should have always been. I don't know why they did what they did last year. It didn't make sense because neither guy was in the position they should have been in. And I just think he's really stepped up. He was one of the guys that won one of the off-season workout awards, and he talked about remember, Rob, at the end of the year, we're in the locker room that last day, and he was like, I'm starting tomorrow. It's go time to start preparing for the season. And he said he's got with the nutritionist, not worried, but working on his weight, make sure it stays stable. I like the way he put this. He said, I've cut out sodas and I'm trying to limit alcohol.
That a guy.
Right?
Yeah.
He didn't want to say it completely.
Can't cut it out.
I'm doing the same thing, right?
Well, yeah. But, you got to have cheat days, right?
Sure.
It's easy to limit out here.
Some names for me, Osa Odighizuwa with that second-team D-line.
Great name.
Has been very active in these practices. Carlos Watkins with the first team has stood out to me in terms of his activity on the defensive line. Keanu Neal had a really good day yesterday in coverage at the linebacker position, had an interception in a scramble drill, and was productive. Maurice Kennedy continues to be one of the best corners in camp based on our eyes, what we're seeing on the field. Got another pick on a play where Leighton Vander Esch blitzes, and they bring the house, and Garrett Gilbert just kind of chucks it up. And, not a good throw, and he picks it off again. So I think all those guys have been impressive. I thought Zeke had a couple really good runs yesterday, too, in the team drills. And it's hard to really evaluate running backs in these practices, and Zeke is, he's probably overlooked in what he's doing out here. He has looked explosive, and it helps to run behind Zach Martin and Lyle Collins when they're both taking reps in team drills. That helps, too. But he talked early in camp about his short area quickness, and he does look a little more slippery out here. So I think he's off to a good start as well.
I'll tell you on that one run, I can't remember if we were doing training camp live or we were just –
I think we were just watching.
Were we next to you when he broke into the open, and there was one guy back, and he kind of tagged him up like that? And I think I told Kyle, there was no way that guy wanted to make that tackle if they were in pads putting the guy on the ground, because he would have run his butt right over with the momentum he had going on that one run that you talked about.
Just little love taps here. He lowered his shoulder once a couple days ago and said, just checking.
It's against Kennedy.
Yeah, just what's under the hood a little bit.
Well, and he said it was second nature. He said, I've played football since I was 8 years old. It's a normal thing. It's second nature to get those pads on and feel that physicality. But I think that you made a great point on that, Rob, because we've talked a lot about the defensive line and the improvements that the defensive line has made, and oh my gosh, they're getting pressure on every single play. Zach Martin has been very limited. I mean, he's been put in on different occasions. He's been held out on a lot of occasions. Yesterday, during those two runs, back-to-back plays with Collins and Zach Martin right next to each other, Tyler Biadasz at center, I mean, it was about as open as a hole as you could possibly get.
Twice
in a row, back-to-back plays.
And I would have called the plays to the right, too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that was the thing, is the first play was like, oh, that was a nice run by Zeke. I wonder who was on the offensive line. Oh, yep, there's Zach. They ran to the right, and there was a gigantic hole. That looked like a Zach Martin hole. Was he out there? Oh, there he is.
And a lot of times going left. So with Tyron out with the tendonitis a little bit, he didn't do everything.
No.
You finally had Ty Nsekhe back at left tackle with the first team, and then McGovern was playing in place of Zach when Zach who am I missing? Yeah, Zach wasn't in there the whole time. But
they've mixed in McGovern a little bit,
but because he was at left guard some too.
Yeah.
And so I'd go right also. By the way, and it was good to see Nsekhe back in there. He missed practice the day before. Not sure why. Whatever it was, it didn't linger right. I don't know if he needed a veteran day or what, but
do you still feel the same about him?
He needs to be. I think he's been okay.
Okay.
There are some times it's like, and then the competition kind of went down because Josh Ball, I think, had an ankle, and he missed like a day and a half. He wasn't out there yesterday. And Terrence Steele keeps hanging in there,
He's been playing both sides.
The guy's like, you get lint on your shoulder and you can't get it off. And he's like, he attaches in there, and and he's kind of hanging in there. Was he good last year? I don't even know if he was average, but he's working hard, and it's going to be interesting to see if his struggles last year as an undrafted rookie, helped him out, and maybe he's a little better this year.
Even with you saying that, and you saying I don't even know if he was good last year, I would say no, he was not good last year. I mean, the numbers showed it, the film showed it. He got better as the year got along, though, and he's better now than I think he was last year.
Yes,
by a good margin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can't get better with starting an entire season as a rookie. Even if you take your lumps, it should make you better. Just the reps. That's what every player needs. I would say, of the guys that are competing for that job,
the swing tackle job,
the swing tackle job. If you're hoping to just plug in one guy to fill that spot if an injury were to happen, instead of, like we've talked about, change out two spots and move Zach Martin out to tackle or something, you would think Ty Nsekhe could give you the best chance to do that because of his experience. I think he's 36 years old. He's been a backup tackle for years in Washington, and he's actually done a nice job in the past against the Cowboys. You would think he could probably have a handle on that job with a strong training camp. But they do have young tackles there that they want to see. We mentioned Terrence Steele. Josh Ball, I did not practice yesterday.
Did not.
But they think he's got traits to be a left or right tackle in this league. It's just how quickly can he get there.
Yeah, and he needs to pick it up because all those guys aren't going to make it on this offensive line. Somebody's going to, end up on the practice squad. So he needs to pick it up. And I can't give you as encouraging news at backup center. That's still
Connor
work
Williams.
in progress.
And
right
Joe
now.
Looney is on another football team now.
Not Joe Looney won't be here for now.
No.
Yeah. Jay Jeezy went after him and got him.
Yes, he's a New York Giant.
He might have heard Kellen say that the other day. He said, if we need Joe, we better sign him right away.
Jason's sitting up in his coach's office in the Meadowlands, and he's just on his phone or on DallasCowboys.com. Sees Kellen Moore say that, and says, "Oh wait, I need to give Joe a call."
He knows to listen to Talkin Cowboys.
That's true. Good luck to Joe Looney in the future, by the way. We love ourselves some Joe Looney. Okay, let's step aside. When we come back, we've got some good good questions for fans
I'll
on
be
the
judge
50.
of that.
I think they're good because they're about the Hall of Fame game. We've got some other ones sprinkled in. How about that? We're going to answer some questions when we come back with more Talkin' Cowboys from Oxnard.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Whether you're watching from home or cheering in the stands with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more, Essilor. Here on Talkin' Cowboys, the 5th episode from Oxnard, Mickey Spagnola. Got the great Rob Phillips.
And the legend.
Well, I already said, wait.
To my left.
Which one? I said Mickey first.
You did?
I did.
Man, I need more sleep.
It's okay.
Okay.
It was a good try.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a good first segment.
Yeah, thank you. I'm off to a rough start here.
It's fine.
I'll start out of the blocks.
I'm Kyle Yeomans, by the way. If you want to call me a legend, you can, but I don't think I'm at that status yet. We got some fans on the 50 questions. Let's hit that sounder, Mr. Chris Beam.
Fans on the 50.
As always, Beamer doing great work in the back. William Boykins also in the house as well. All right, this first question comes from Ernie. It's about the Hall of Fame game. Give me one player on offense and defense who would most benefit from a strong performance in that Hall of Fame game.
Defense?
Sure.
The first one that jumped to my mind is Luke Gifford. I think he's made an impression at the backup linebacker spots, and I think that we will get to see a whole lot of him. So I think I'm going to go with Luke Gifford on defense. Offense, somebody who ends up playing that backup center spot, and it might be Forniak, can help themselves quite a bit if they get the snaps right and do a good job blocking.
Okay. Those are 2 really good ones.
Offense, I will go with Simi Fehoko.
Perfect.
Because we've seen some other receivers kind of, in our eyes, again, elevate in these practices. We've talked about Malik Turner. Osiris?
Yep.
Osiris Mitchell had a really good day.
That's who I was going to say.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
Ahead, talk about him.
I was going to say Osiris Mitchell, to me, is a better receiver than Simi Fehoko, and I said that even last year. I thought Mitchell was a 5th-round receiver last year.
Yeah.
And Fehoko I had as like a 6 or 7. So, to me, Mitchell needs to come out and not have a great day, not just a great day receiving, I should say, because he needs to have a good day receiving. He needs to show he's as good of a special teams player or a better special teams player than Fehoko if he has any remote spot to make this team. Because Fehoko has the 5th round advantage of being a draft pick over a guy like Mitchell.
Okay, here's the deal with Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same thing with Turner. Okay? One day we see Turner. The next day, where's Turner? One day we see Mitchell. Now, can he continue that?
Correct.
Right?
He's got to be consistent.
Can you do it 2 or 3 days in a row?
I feel like Turner's been consistent, though. He's had a pretty good game.
He was good yesterday, right? The day before, wasn't it Turner?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Turner has been consistent.
Well, it seems like one day, right? You got to do it back-to-back days. You can't just flash. And so that's why when you ask the question, this game's really important for the lights come on, and you better be ready to go. Who was the wide receiver that really played well? He was undrafted rookie. Played well in camp.
Andy Jones.
No.
That was one example.
Lance Lenore.
Lance Lenore, John Bay Johnson.
The lights came on, and all of a sudden he's dropping passes, and he's disappearing, dropping punts. And it's like, oh, where's the guy I saw in practice? So got to perform when the lights come on, especially guys that are on the fringe in the preseason games.
Yeah, absolutely. Defensively, how about Jabril Cox at the linebacker position?
Yes.
I mean, he's gotten some second, third team reps in there, but I'm not saying he's off to a rough start, but there are other linebackers that at least jump out at you during practice, and he made a nice play in coverage the other day. But he needs the benefit of some preseason reps, and I think one of his deals is, as an off-the-ball linebacker, he's great in coverage, but he's got to show he can be successful against the run. And now we're going to see some live reps here on Thursday night.
And for the sake of not being obvious, men, obviously the other quarterbacks need to play well.
Sure.
But a lot of that will have to do with how well's whatever offensive line is playing that they put out in front of them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, if your offense, depending on how the Steelers are playing it, if your offensive line ain't holding up, that makes life very difficult on backup quarterbacks.
No doubt. And the Steelers are going to bring a pretty ferocious front seven, no doubt about it. I'm not talking about the T.J. Watts because he's definitely not going to play in that game. I'm talking about some of the depth they have. They've got really good depth up front. And I think the front seven is going to be something that is going to challenge this offensive line. It's going to challenge this run game. And so I think some of those running backs need to be mentioned in there as well. Maybe a Jaquan Hardy, a Rico Dowdle, if they want to try and find their way onto this roster, because like we've talked about before, taking a heavy assortment of defensive linemen and a heavy assortment of defensive backs are very much so in play whenever the roster cuts come down. So if you can trim down on 2 running backs, a fullback, instead of having 3 running backs and one of them being mostly special teams, that might be one of the places that they trim down later on. Sticking with the defensive side and talking about those defensive backs, Jacob Rogers asks, over under 2 interceptions for the defense during the Hall of Fame game. It's a pretty good one. Over under.
Is that the guy from Oxnard that failed as a Cowboys offensive lineman?
I don't think so.
Jacob Rogers, wasn't that his name?
No, he just says an avid Dallas Cowboys fan.
Second-round pick in 2004?
Yeah.
From Oxnard, California?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a fun game, Mick. Over, under?
Bar games, Mick. Let's go.
They'll hit 2.
Okay, so you call it a wash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody gets their money back.
That's the way Mick gets it.
I'll take the under. Maurice Kennedy gets a pick because every day he gets one, so he gets one Thursday night.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say over just for fun, just to keep it different for everybody. So I know that doesn't answer your question very well, but that's at least one that we can talk about.
We didn't mention the quarterbacks.
I did.
You did.
Did you? Okay. All 3?
I said it'll depend on what kind of protection they get.
Yeah.
They're at the mercy of their offensive line, and we can guess what the offensive line looks like, but, if the starters aren't out there, oh, my.
DiNucci in particular.
Yes. Has to have
it's close to his hometown, but actually he'll be, ready, actually have a chance to prepare to play more than a couple days like he did against Philly last year. So, I think some people want to write him off based off of that game. We'll see. He's going to have an opportunity, and he does make some plays out here on occasion when he's asked to lead the team in a situational drill. So we'll see what happens.
The one yesterday, we've already brought it up about the Artavius Lynn drop in the back of the end zone. That was a fantastic play from DiNucci to extend out of the pocket, set his feet. He made a really nice throw to an open receiver, and then Lynn just kind of fumbled the ball. I mean, didn't even fumble the ball. He just dropped it. So, I don't know. I agree with you. I was never wanting to write him off after the Philadelphia game, but he has had a really rough camp.
I'm talking about media.
Well, I know. But, in general, he's got to have a good preseason.
Well, yeah, I mean,
if not, he's not going to be around.
He's not getting a lot of reps. Even with Dak out, he's not getting a ton of reps. And yeah.
But that's a telltale sign, though.
Sure. No, I mean, if he makes this team, he's going to make this team as strictly, again, a developmental guy. Yeah. But he's got to show something in preseason, no question about it.
Only if they don't find another quarterback to bring in.
Only what?
If they bring in a veteran backup, do they keep Gilbert or would they keep DiNucci as the third guy?
It's a great question.
Ooh, that is a very good question.
That's preseason will tell the tale.
Yep.
Because Gilbert's got to have a good preseason as well. Okay, I see what you guys are saying.
But if you got a backup that has experience, then maybe you look at DiNucci as, all right, this is my third guy should be a developmental guy.
Sure.
Right, and Gilbert doesn't fit that mold as a 30-year-old guy.
Neither does Cooper Rush at this point.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think Gilbert that's without. I mean,
so
that doesn't even to go without saying that he's competing against every quarterback in the country. That could conceivably come in here and be a number 2 guy.
DiNucci needs to show that he's worth keeping as a developmental guy.
Exactly.
Sort of the same boat that the Clayton Thorson was in. Why do I keep forgetting Stephen Mcgee, that type of guy.
Yep.
Not the immediate backup, but a guy that might be my backup. Sort of probably way they were looking at Dak when they drafted him.
Very much so.
He was going to be the third guy.
There was a time when Tony Romo was struggling right out on those practice fields, and
is that the second time you've compared Ben DiNucci to Tony Romo?
I'm not making a direct comparison. I am not doing that.
But they both came from Division I AA or whatever.
FCS.
Yes, FCS. Romo was 1AA.
Yeah.
And he was the Walter Payton Award winner for the best player in that division.
Now you're starting to do it. Make a direct
comparison. There are comparisons. I mean, they are comparisons on how they got here, right?
Sure.
And now what do you do after you're here? Because, Romo's second year was pretty rough. And he doesn't make this team if they don't cut Quincy Carter right here in 2004.
Exactly. And he said as much.
It's interesting.
On Deep Blue.
Moving on. Just asked me. I could have saved you the time.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, are you minimizing Deep Blue?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
That's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah.
All right.
I just said you should have asked me. That's all.
Well,
he put it on camera.
Oh, gosh. Jake just asked Mick a question. Rob, you'll get a chance to answer this, too. But do you remember a period where the corner room was more deep/competitive than it is now? In terms of corner.
Yeah, it's probably been a while that they could go maybe, and we think 4 or 5
from
deep.
what we've seen.
Yeah, that they can go 4 or 5 deep at this point. But again, so 4, we're counting on 4. I'm not sure who the 5th is. If it's Diggs, Brown, Lewis, Kelvin Joseph.
Okay.
That's 4, right?
Kennedy,
we'll find out about that one. 5, yeah.
At the moment,
and
I would say yes.
And he needs to step up. And the other guy that has moments, Deontay Burton, sometimes. And then you've got Nashawn Wright, but you know what? Since the pads come on, I don't think I've seen him touch a ball.
He had a PBU yesterday.
He did?
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
He definitely did.
But you're right. I mean, he hasn't.
Against Simi Fehoko.
He hasn't flashed the way we saw in non-padded stuff.
Right. I'm not sure what happened.
He's a young guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
I think everybody got real excited. And remember, I mean, he's, I think the plan for him is just keep developing.
Right.
I don't think they're expecting him to be a
starter. So maybe going back to that guy, to the question, maybe when you consider those other 3 guys, there's a lot of competition.
Sure.
Right. And it's good competition. It's not competition that, well, we're not anybody else, so somebody's got to make it. And, boy, I can take you back to the early 2000s. Oh, God.
Some of the draft picks they missed on.
Oh, yeah. It's just, it's like make you shake your head.
Oh. Please don't take us back there. Okay. What about you, Rob?
I'm trying to think back like the last 10 years, and I would say it's pretty good competition right now, especially the way Kelvin Joseph, when he's been out there, has picked it up. Because we didn't see him a lot in the offseason. So to me, he's kind of the X factor. If he can push Anthony Brown, then all of a sudden we've got some nice competition here, because the other side is Trayvon Diggs' job. That's his job. So how does the rest of the group fill out? And Mike McCarthy spoke to the amount of cornerbacks you need in today's NFL. It's I would say it's at least 4 or 5 that you can feel good about coming in and playing a football game.
And we mentioned all those guys, and we didn't bring up Reggie Robinson.
Yeah.
I think
back
maybe
to playing his normal position.
Yeah. Maybe he needs another year on maybe practice squad to continue playing corner and kind of in a developmental spot, because I think that's where he's at right now. If Maurice Kennedy bumps him out, I was looking at the safety position, and I like the Tyler Coyle.
Sure,
I like him a lot, but I was sitting there going, if they keep all those veterans and now bringing in Hooker as another DB, he might be the guy that gets squeezed, right? And that would be a shame, because I thought he had a chance to squeeze on to the roster.
Well, it's just tough because, they also drafted
Mukwamu also,
to convert him to safety. So,
and in my opinion, Mukwamu's probably a better fit for that spot, or what they need, because they need a center field safety, and Mukwamu fits that role a little bit more than I think
Coyle's
Coyle
kind of
does.
More of maybe a box
I think he would be better in the box for sure.
They've
They've been putting him out at free. He hasn't really played a whole lot of box, but he would be better in the box.
I see him going out there with the seconds at times.
Yes, he has.
So that's encouraging for him.
And kind of along that same notes, they did a lot of shifting and a lot of mixing and matching in terms of first and second teams yesterday, and I was surprised to see at least the first group out on the field, which were all ones. I went back and charted it, all ones along the way, and there was not Jordan Lewis in the slot. It was Maurice Kennedy. So you talked about
he went out. Lewis went out at times.
I'm talking about ones. For the full first, second, third, fourth down team drill. It was Kennedy at the slot, and Lewis did go out with the ones. I agree, but like I said, they're mixing and matching. We just talked about Kelvin Joseph pushing Anthony Brown. Is there a chance that Maurice Kennedy pushes Jordan Lewis in the slot and maybe looks and challenges for that job?
Well, if he does that, then some other guys ain't making the team, because Lewis, with his contract, he's on this team. And so, I guess you could keep him as a special teams guy and mix and match as a dime type slot guy. But that's some interesting competition going on. And like I said, when he missed those couple days in a row, it's like, no, you better
get back out there.
You better get back out there. And the safety position is crowded, right, because of all the veterans. But every one of those guys they signed, including Malik Hooker, are on one-year deals. And nobody's got a contract that says they got to make the team, right? And I think Keanu Neal, however you want to look at him, he's the only one that got a little bit more than the minimum signing bonus you can give a guy and keep him on that veteran exception. So these guys are expendable. Their signing bonus doesn't say they got to make the team. And that includes Hooker, by the way. And I don't know how long it's going to take for him to ramp up.
He's starting to ramp up practice a little bit more out there.
But he's doing conditioning.
No, I'm just saying, trying to get back to football activities.
Right. I bet he doesn't, the soon as he gets back into practice is maybe next Tuesday.
Yeah, you don't think he'll be in team drills or at least in fundamental drills tomorrow?
No, I have not seen.
Probably not team drills, but.
I mean, and tomorrow's practice is going to be getting ready for whoever's going to play against the Steelers.
Sure.
So we should get a better idea of who's playing and who's not, who's out there that's not on the Cards team, because they're going to be trying to get him ready for what Pittsburgh does. And so if he's not practicing Tuesday, he's probably not playing against the Rams. And then they have those 2 days off. So I think the soonest he gets back out there is the Tuesday
after,
prior to the second preseason game. And we'll see if he does that. And if he doesn't get in until we get back to the Star, then, okay, you better get going.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance, I guess, we could see him before we get back home. But, they come back. If he's not practicing before this game, which, the day before they leave for Canton, I doubt that's going to be a heavy practice anyway.
No.
Then you get back.
That'll be a walkthrough. Right?
Yeah, and then you practice against the Rams when you get back. Do you want to throw him in for that?
No.
So, I mean, and then after that, you've only got a couple practices left. So we'll see. Mickey's right. There are question marks at that position still. And we got to remember, we're only 4 padded practices into this thing.
Yeah.
And it's going to continue when we get back, not to mention the rest of the games. I will say DeMonte KZ he's made some plays out here.
Yes, he has.
And I don't think there's any question that what Donovan Wilson brought last year in terms of physicality and toughness, that's something Mike McCarthy wants on his defense. So I think he's going to play, and I would think he's a starter. We'll see. But that free safety job, depending on what Hooker can do when he gets in there, up for grabs as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know if you can keep both Kearse and Hooker.
I don't think you can. I did a exercise last night where I went through and put I cut down to the 53-man what I would do personally, and I did not have both of those guys on the roster.
One of them may have to go.
Yeah.
And it might come down to, I'm assuming Kearse, I thought when they first, I know he started some last year with Minnesota, right?
Detroit.
Detroit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So had the right division.
You did.
But maybe, I don't know that Hooker's going to play special teams, but maybe that guy has to play special teams and be able to do some stuff. And I think Kearse, that's how he made his bones initially, was on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to watch, because bringing in Hooker kind of made the field a little bit crowded, and we didn't. And I assumed Donovan Wilson got one spot.
Yeah, he's locked in.
And remember, you can always put Neal at one of those spots too,
yes,
depending on how you use him at the linebacker spot. Mm-hmm. And it looks at linebacker, he's kind of a matchup guy in special packages.
But he's more of a box safety if he's a safety.
Yeah.
The free safety spot where you're talking about more center field coverage, you're looking at KZ, and maybe Hooker can push him when he gets back out there.
Mm-hmm. There were a couple plays yesterday where there were 3 listed safeties out on the field, and it was KZ, Wilson, and then you also had Kearse out there too, and Kearse was kind of playing a little bit further up. So, they're mixing and matching. They're trying to figure out who fits best where. Even Wilson was playing a bit of free safety in yesterday's practice as well. So, still lots to go. I do have one more question. Any updates on Rondell Carter and Brent Urban? How have they been mixing in, and how have they been looking to you guys?
They've been mixing in Urban a lot more. I saw him getting some reps with the first team
yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, so that'll be an interesting one to watch. Carter has been mostly second team, but you got to remember, when DeMarcus Lawrence gets back, then everybody else gets bumped down, right? So
yeah, because Basham's a starter.
Basham
right
is working as a starter, and then you got Armstrong, and you start doing the numbers, and it's like, where are you going to fit an extra guy in? So yeah, that's a crowded field right now for him.
And Armstrong, we talked about it at practice yesterday. His pressure has been good in these team drills. Urban, we up until yesterday, I didn't really see many reps for him with the first group. It's been mostly Carlos Watkins working alongside Neville Gallimore inside. But they drafted him. They signed him, I would say, specifically for his run defense. You look at some of his metrics where he's been in other spots, and he can stop the run. He's got what they talk about with size and length. He's as big as Tyron Smith when you look at him out on the field. And so you would think he's
bigger than Tyron Smith.
Yeah.
He's 6'7".
Yeah. So when we look at that defensive tackle spot, I think that's one reason why we haven't seen Tristan Hill out there.
Mm-hmm.
They placed him on PUP, and if you watch him doing rehab, he's doing everything DeMarcus Lawrence is doing.
Sure.
But I think they look at it as, that defensive tackle spot's a crowded field right now, and if we leave him on PUP, then he's got 6 more weeks before he would be eligible to start practicing. And
just hold
maybe
him.
they just say, okay, we're putting him in our back pocket to make sure we don't have to cut somebody that we don't want to cut.
I do that with my IR spot in Rob and I's fantasy baseball league all the time. Guy gets healthy. It's like, hey, I've got guys in my spot. I got to leave him there for a little bit.
Man, some playoffs coming up. I've lost track of my team.
Dude,
I got to catch
I'm
up.
not even remotely close.
Somebody's going to get hurt, and they'll open up a spot.
There's a spot that'll be opened up later on. It's a nice little reserve pocket that you could keep Tristan Hill in and not rush him back from injury, too, because he's got to have a really good year if he's going to stick around. Former second-round pick. Okay. When we come back, Mickey wanted it. Mickey gets it. Do we have a kicker conundrum in Dallas? Do we have a punter problem in Dallas? We'll see when we come back. We're talking special teams when we return with more Talkin Cowboys.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
We are just 38 days away from kickoff of the 2021 NFL season. And, hey, guess what? We've got football every week from here on out until February.
Woo!
That's a good thing to celebrate. And because of that, you don't want to miss your chance to see the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium this season. A limited number of single-game, standing-room-only tickets are on sale now. Get yours today at DallasCowboys.com/tickets. Jump on those tickets now because, hey, it's coming quickly. 38 days away.
When you said see them, I thought it was another Essilor.
See more, do more?
Yeah, because you got to have glasses to see the Cowboys.
It's true, whether you're cheering
Isaiah, too.
Cheering from home or listening, or wait.
I need to talk to Isaiah because
he's our Essilor spot guy.
I lost my top pair.
Darn.
I know. Good thing I had some backups. I'd have been in big trouble.
Just come fill in one day or, like, just be the fifth voice on Talkin Cowboys one day, and then we'll just send an email to Essilor. Look, he's on the show.
That's right.
I'm getting my appointment when I come back home. So you come with me.
Oh,
yeah,
you guys going to have a joint?
All right.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, that's the cutest thing I've ever heard. All right.
Mick and Rob can't see.
Details next on Cowboys Daily.
Oh, gosh. He's Rob Phillips. He's Mickey Spagnola. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Having some fun today out in Oxnard. And, Mickey, you wanted to talk about it. Kicker.
Yeah.
He was trying to stir it up at the press conference yesterday.
Yeah, you were.
Mike didn't want to have nothing to do with it, did he?
He didn't want to talk about it at all.
We have not seen Zerline kick one ball, not even off the artificial holder, right?
Mm-hmm.
The little thing, just go up there and boot it. He's still rehabbing from his back surgery, and I don't know if he had something else, but the only 2-3 kicks we've seen is Nicewander at the end of one of those competitive things.
Mm-hmm.
I think he hit from like 24 and 35, and his 47-yarder that was going to decide the competition hit the upright.
It doinked off the left upright.
And they ended up -8 because of that, because they didn't hit the field goal.
3 attempts?
That's all I've seen.
From Nicewander in
Yes.
one practice.
Yep,
that's
in
it.
one practice.
Yeah.
And so, when I asked Mike, does at some point you need to see him kick? And his answer was, well, he's a veteran. And he says, and we've got a veteran holder and a veteran snapper. But maybe they're on their mock games or working together on any of that
kicking.
stuff. I don't know, but we haven't seen it. And, you may have a veteran holder and a veteran snapper, but they haven't worked together.
Nope.
So, and we're assuming when he said that, the veteran holder has to be Anger.
Yeah, it can't be Nicewander, right?
He's not veteran.
Nope.
Yeah. Although he punted awfully well last year, and he held awfully well.
Here's the quote from Mike McCarthy. First, he was asked about it was 3 attempts in one practice from Nicewander so far. He said that's part of it. That's just part of the install. And then he was asked about Greg Zuerlein. Said he's on a time. That was your question. He said he's on a timeline. Good thing about particularly the guys being hurt, there's a sense in talking to the staff that some of these guys we got to protect against themselves.
Right.
He went on to say, we've got a veteran holder, a veteran snapper. He's plenty of time to get that right. He's not concerned about the operation. So, when camp started, they said every guy that's on PUP, they don't feel like they're that far off. Mm-hmm. And Tristan, as we mentioned earlier, Tristan Hill is probably the furthest away. So I think Coach Fossil said early in camp, too, he thinks maybe Greg can get in there in preseason at some point.
Don't
so
you
we'll
see maybe 2 games he needs to kick?
At least one you would like to see, Get ready for the season.
If you think about it, all these years until Dan Bailey established himself as Dan Bailey, we'd sit here and spend half our time in training camp charting kicks, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Every one of them. And then Bailey has the bad year, and he was hurt. They bring him back the next year, and here we were charting his kicks. And then they did the surprise and let him go. He ended up in Minnesota. And now it's like, okay, can any of these other guys kick? And we haven't had to chart. We hadn't have to go stand underneath the goalpost and, okay, we'll decide if it's good or not. and poor Henry hadn't had a chance to, because that was his deal. He would raise his hands,
Hunter Nicewander last year, 26 punts. He had a 47.2 yards per punt average, and his long was 58. That's pretty darn good.
He was good.
Those are good numbers.
He was better than Chris Jones.
Inside the 20 was there.
Chris Jones had a nice run here as the punter. But what Nicewander did in a limited, 8-10 games last year was better than what we saw from Chris Jones,
because he was hurt.
Before his injury. But I would say even the year before.
He was hurt. He kicked through that.
Okay. Yeah.
It's true.
I'm just saying, strictly from a production standpoint, he was not bad last year filling in. But look, Brian Anger has 10 years of experience.
Yeah, how did he kick last year, though?
Well,
I can look it up.
His numbers, his career numbers are about in line with what Nicewander did last year. And so from an experience standpoint, that's obviously what Fossil wants.
Oh, and also from a knowing the special teams coach. Because we're starting to see.
He never coached him.
We're starting to see. What, didn't he kick for the Rams?
No, he didn't.
Oh, okay.
No, that was the long snapper.
Oh,
McQuaid. Yeah.
Because it seems like Fossil has a pretty strong voice on who does the snapping, the kicking, and the punting.
Okay, punting last year for Brian Anger, he had 54 punts, so about twice as much as what Nicewander had. 46.4, so a little bit less than that, and he had a long of 67, which was much longer than Nicewander's 58.
Yeah, and
so
the long
very
kind of
comparable.
messes up your average because
I know
you
my
did it
punting
once,
stats.
right? You know them punting stats.
Good job. Yeah, 4 years in Jacksonville, 3 years in Tampa Bay, and then 2 years in Houston now here with the Cowboys.
And we really haven't seen any punting competition either, have we?
No, we haven't seen any.
And
they've usually used the jug machines
and
punt returns.
Here's my deal on McQuaid. I think the one practice they snapped. They had the special teams out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
They snapped, but Nicewander didn't kick. He just went in there and swung his leg,
yes,
right?
You're right.
So we saw McQuaid at least snap some. Well, I'm telling you, he's got to be perfect because one mistake could be one more than LP ever made in his career.
Yeah, except for that snap infraction in Washington.
Yeah,
that was the only. I know. I'm just trying to rally you up.
And so we haven't seen him. And
maybe they're punting in practice. Maybe they're doing a lot of field goals. I mean, in
mock games.
Yeah, in mock games that we don't get to see.
We're going to have to sneak in here and look.
Can't do that.
Oh,
yeah, I was about to say I don't think that's really allowed, but
maybe legends can get in there. Maybe it's legends.
Maybe it's legendary Mickey Spagnuolo can sneak in.
I don't know. That didn't get me to listen to Dak's car wash interviews.
You were still out there though, right?
No, I got kicked out.
You got kicked out.
They kicked everybody out, Mick. Don't feel bad.
But I was the last one.
I was about to say,
out.
probably
there
the
you
only
go.
one.
I went up to Deucey and I said, Deuce, way to ask those questions because you're the only interview I got to hear.
Oh my gosh. Just keeping along with the special teams talk. Who is untouchable from a special team standpoint so far? Because of course, C.J. Goodwin was one of those guys in the past. Maurice Kennedy has come in and he has played, he has a reputation of being a fantastic special teams player. Is there anybody that is untouchable from that point?
Noah Brown.
Okay.
No, I think Noah is one of the top 4 receivers.
Well, I know,
or 5.
but in addition to what he's done for years on special teams, when healthy, I think he's making this team.
Maybe Thompson.
Darian?
Is there room for him
but
as
Mick,
a backup corner?
Maybe, because he is a good special teams player, but you just talked about all that competition at safety. And Malik Turner is a guy.
Thompson is –
Huh?
Oh, Thompson is a safety.
Yeah,
Goodwin's the corner.
Correct.
Yeah.
Malik Turner's a guy they brought in, he formerly of Seattle and was more of a special teams guy there.
Yes,
wasn't active for a lot of games last year, but made the team as quote-unquote wide receiver because of his special teams. How many guys can you keep that have just kind of more of that role is the question.
We need to bring John Fossil in to answer that question.
I mean, it's a fair question.
But Thompson, with all those safeties, and he, I thought the year before when he came in and played safety, I thought he played well. Yeah. I thought this last year, maybe not so much when they had to bring him in. I think he started like 7 or 9 games last year at safety.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as good. So, when you asked the question about, a special teams guy that might not that safety position is getting pretty crowded.
Yeah, during my exercise that I did yesterday, I think Thompson was one of those borderline guys. I think I kept him around though. I don't have my sheet in front of me. I left it in the room, but I think I kept Thompson around basically just for special teams. Same thing with Noah Brown, and then C.J. Goodwin was also on that list as well. But I think that helps out guys like Maurice Kennedy if he's going to make the team and he's going to be your 5th corner, and he's one of the best special teams players you got. I think that's a double dip that you could possibly see happening, even though it is a crowded cornerback room.
And it helps out Gifford because probably none of your other top linebackers are playing special teams, right? Jalen's not. Leighton's not. I would imagine Keanu Neal's not. Now, Parsons, I'd put him out there on special teams.
Just because?
Just because he's going to do something. And as a matter of fact, my idea for him is he's the personal protector on punt because I'm snapping him the ball and let him run with it.
Let him go a couple different times?
That's right.
Interesting.
Because you got to remember last year.
Nick wants to play him at tight end in the red zone,
Last year at Penn State, they were going to use him as the kickoff returner if he had played. I've seen the head coach. Is it Franklin?
Mm-hmm.
I saw a quote from him saying had Micah Parsons played last year, we were going to let him return kicks.
I wonder if that was facetious or not.
No, I think.
I wonder if that was a little tongue-in-cheek.
No, I think he was absolutely telling the truth.
He's that kind of athlete. I mean, yeah. I mean, you just see it out there, and I don't know if he's even the best athlete at linebacker. They've got some really good athletes at that position. I mean, Leighton Vander Esch is a terrific athlete.
He's the best athlete on the defense.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Micah Parsons?
Anybody else on that defense in high school run for 2,000 yards? Or
maybe.
Play defensive end?
Maybe.
Trayvon Diggs is a pretty terrific athlete.
Randy Gregory.
Trayvon Diggs is a receiver playing corner now.
Right.
Go get the football.
But do you remember that play before the pads came on, they did the scramble drill, and CD takes off from the line of scrimmage and ended up in the end zone? Mm-hmm. And the guy that was right behind him was Micah Parsons.
It's true. He was right there.
And they basically started at the same spot.
Best athlete on defense that's a good question.
Well, if
Marcus Lawrence?
Yeah, D-Long.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I mean,
if you're having this conversation now, and it's even a debate that Micah Parsons is possibly the best athlete on your defense right this second, man, what is he going to look like after he gets some NFL off seasons in him?
Think about this. The guy ran a 4.39 40.
Yes, he's fantastic.
At 2.46. Any of them other guys going to run a 4.35 40?
Probably not.
And if they do, they're doing it at 210 pounds.
Bohanna?
That's good.
Good athlete for his size.
Hey, pound for pound, he might be the best athlete.
Might be. That's going to do it for us here on Talking Cowboys. Had a lot of fun. We covered a lot of ground, I feel like, throughout this episode. And
we made use of those extra 15 minutes.
Yes, we did. We'll be back without our extra 15 minutes on Wednesday. Oh, well, maybe we do. I don't know if Coach is talking on Wednesday.
He might.
He may talk.
Are you guys working on Wednesday?
I don't know.
You guys are.
William, Chris?
Yeah.
On Wednesday?
Quickman's going to be here?
Yeah, he'd probably be gone, right?
On Wednesday, right?
So he's – oh, I guess we're not working on Wednesday. Oh, well, we'll be back after the Hall of Fame game, I guess.
Well, we might just get on Zoom and do a special one for you,
yeah,
right?
No, let's not try.
Or we could take a nap.
Yeah, let's not try and make any unnecessary work here. All right, but we'll see you next time at some point along down the road for Talking Cowboys. For Rob Phillips, the legendary Mickey Spagnola, I'm Kyle Yeomans. For William Boykins and Chris Beam, we'll see you next time on Talking Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this?